It's a wrap. I just came ready to say my birthday is tomorrow. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. You don't have a tripod at all? Somebody stole it. Somebody stole it? Somebody gave it. Somebody stole it. I burnt my leg. I lost my mind. I was only drunk because I didn't have no food. Nobody cared that I didn't have food. Y'all just kept giving me Patron. I didn't have any food all night long, and I paid all the money for that food.
How about you? I snap on it because I look at you different. Why the about my baby mom? I don't give it. Yo, if you ever was the talk nigga, she'd tell you that.
I would never talk to that on my level. She ain't the fuck nothing to me, and she never been in my circle. She never been around that and no.
Philadelphia police have identified a suspect in connection with a deadly shooting inside a North Philly barbershop. 44-year-old Armand Hilton is wanted for murder, robbery, and related charges. Police say he shot and killed Natifa Wade inside a barbershop on Lehigh Avenue on Saturday afternoon.
It was a quiet Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia. A barbershop, just like any other, filled with the hum of clippers and friendly chatter. Families walked by, unaware that this ordinary day would soon be shattered by an act of unspeakable violence. A single gunshot, then another. The peaceful neighborhood was jolted awake as chaos spilled onto the street. Inside the barbershop, a life was taken in the blink of an eye. But this wasn't just any random act of violence. The killer? Still out there, armed, dangerous, and leaving behind more questions than answers. But this isn't just a story about a murder. It's about a chilling trail of evidence, a suspect with a shadowy past, and a motive that will leave you questioning everything. On October 7, 2023, in North Philadelphia, a barbershop on the 2500 block of West Lehigh Avenue became the scene of a fatal shooting. A 40-year-old woman, later identified as Natifa Wade from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, was shot in the torso and head. Medics pronounced her dead at the scene. Why did this happen? Was this personal, or part of something unsettling? And how did a quiet corner of Philadelphia become the backdrop for such a brutal crime? Stay with us as we unravel the layers of this perplexing case, exploring the investigation that followed, because the deeper we dig, the more disturbing this story becomes. From the moment the shots were fired to the manhunt that's gripping an entire city. And what we uncover might just make you look over your shoulder tonight. And at some point, I'm going to introduce the most intriguing twist in this story that will leave you perplexed. This is the tragic story and mystery behind the tragic death of Natifa Wade. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our latest stories. This tragic story took place in Philadelphia, often called the City of Brotherly Love, has a rich history but faces significant challenges in recent years, including rising crime and gun violence. As of late, the city has struggled with alarming homicide rates, with gun-related crimes contributing to much of the violence. Community efforts and law enforcement initiatives are ongoing to address these issues, but the impact of gun violence continues to resonate deeply. This tragic backdrop frames the heartbreaking story of Natifa Wade, underscoring the urgency for justice and solutions. Natifa Wade wasn't just a name in a news report. She was a daughter, a friend, a business owner. She hailed from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, a town southwest of Philadelphia. A devout Muslim, her faith was a guiding force in her life. She was known to be a kind and giving person. Her friends describe her as generous, hardworking, and full of life. According to her social media, she was passionate about helping people. She opened a home healthcare service for the Philadelphia community. She was the owner of a cleaning service, a herbs and spices seasoning shop, a hair extension business, amongst others, and a little bit of real estate, which is a testament to her drive and entrepreneurial spirit. She was also a registered nurse and a mother to 3 adorable children. This detail alone adds a whole new dimension to this tragedy. Imagine the void left behind. What do you think is the hardest part for a family to endure after such a loss? She's always seen flaunting her wealth on her Instagram page, buying designer clothes, fancy cars, luxury vacations, and living her life to the fullest. But on that October afternoon, she wasn't at her business or on vacation. She wasn't at home with her family. Instead, she was at a barbershop on West Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia. Why? That's the question investigators and those who loved her are still asking. Why was Natifa at that barbershop on West Lehigh Avenue that day? That's a question that haunts this case. While details are still emerging, it appears she had accompanied a friend or relative. She wasn't simply a random victim. There was a connection, a reason she was there at that specific time. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It wasn't a random act of violence. This was something else. Reports began to surface suggesting a possible domestic element to this case. This information changes everything. It paints a picture of a situation far more complex and personal than initially imagined. This wasn't a stranger-on-stranger crime. It was something far more intimate, something that likely involved someone Natifa knew. This is where the story takes a truly disturbing turn. If this was a domestic situation, what led to such extreme violence? What could have possibly triggered such a devastating outcome? And who was the person connected to Natifa in such a way? These questions hang heavy over this investigation, and they form the crux of what we'll explore next. Don't go anywhere, because the next part of this story will leave you speechless. It was just before 2 p.m. on Saturday, October 7th, 2023. A typical weekend afternoon. But inside a barbershop on the 2500 block of West Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia, that ordinary day was about to be shattered. Imagine the buzz of clippers, casual conversations, the smell of aftershave, and then a single gunshot. Everything changed in an instant. What do you think would be going through the minds of the people inside at that moment? Share your thoughts in the comments. Witnesses described the chaos that immediately followed. Panic erupted. People scrambling for cover, shouting, the immediate realization that something terrible had just happened. Natifa Wade had been shot. She suffered gunshot wounds to her torso and head. The barbershop, a place of routine and community, had become a scene of unimaginable violence. This wasn't some distant event. It happened in a place where people gathered, a place that suddenly became a crime scene. It's hard to imagine the fear and confusion those present must have felt. Within minutes, first responders arrived at the scene. Paramedics rushed inside, but it was too late. Natifa Wade was pronounced dead at the scene. The time was just after 2 p.m. The barbershop was cordoned off, becoming a focal point for police investigators. The initial reports were sparse. A woman shot inside a business. No weapon recovered. No suspects in custody. Just a devastating loss and a growing number of unanswered questions. But amidst the initial confusion, a crucial detail began to surface. This wasn't a random act of violence. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was something different. The police began to focus their investigation on the possibility that Natifa Wade was targeted. This changes the entire narrative. It suggests a motive, a connection between the victim and the perpetrator. What could that connection be? What could have led to such a brutal act? This new information creates a disturbing picture, a puzzle with missing pieces. And the answers, as they begin to surface, are more unsettling than anyone could have imagined. The question on everyone's mind was, who could have committed such a brutal act? Who would walk into a barbershop and take a life so carelessly? Then the police released a name, Armand Hilton. This changed everything. The investigation had a face, a focus. But who was this man? And what connected him to Natifa Wade? Armand Hilton, known by the street name Speedy, 44 years old, from Chester, Pennsylvania, became the prime suspect in Natifa Wade's murder. Details about his specific background are limited, but the crucial piece of information was this. There was a connection between Hilton and Natifa. Reports suggested a domestic element to the case, hinting at a relationship between the two. This wasn't a random act. It was something far more personal, far more disturbing. What kind of relationship do you think they had? The charges against Armand Hilton were severe: murder and robbery. This indicated that the police believed the motive extended beyond just the taking of a life. Robbery suggested another layer to this crime, perhaps a financial element. This detail adds another layer of complexity to the case, suggesting a possible motive beyond a personal dispute. The police issued a stark warning. Armand Hilton was considered armed and dangerous. A manhunt was launched. The urgency in their message was clear. They needed to apprehend him quickly. The public was urged to exercise extreme caution and to report any sightings immediately. This wasn't just an investigation anymore. It was a race against time. The thought of a potentially violent individual on the loose created a sense of fear and uncertainty. But there was something else. Something from Armand Hilton's past that added a truly disturbing dimension to this case. Back in 2002, he was involved in a kidnapping case gone wrong. He was apprehended while he and his crew wanted to collect the ransom money, and he made the papers. This wasn't a minor offense. This was a serious crime that revealed a capacity for violence. This information casts a long shadow over the current investigation. It suggests a pattern, a history of dangerous behavior. This detail is important because it offers a glimpse into Hilton's past, and it makes the current situation all the more terrifying. It begs the question, what was he capable of now? This past incident raises serious concerns about the potential danger he posed to the public. What do you think about this previous crime? What does it suggest about this case? This is a crucial piece of the puzzle, and it sets the stage for what would happen next. And what happened next will make you question everything. Now here comes the intriguing twist. After Mind Twist, true crime stories did lots of finding and also word on the streets. It is said that Natifa and Armand had been married before, and they had a son together, which is one of the kids seen with Natifa. Armand was rich at the time and had lots of properties around Philly and Miami, but due to his criminal records, he acquired most of the properties in Natifa's name. Something happened along the line, and Armand had to go do some time in jail again. So, he put Natifa in charge of all his properties for her to take care of it while he was away. Not too long after, Natifa was put in charge. She changed the ownership of all the properties to her name, divorced him while in jail, and worst of all, she got married to another man and started a new life. Now after Armand did his time and was out, he discovered that all his properties were listed in someone else's name. He confronted Natifa and demanded for his properties back from her, but she kept playing him, going back and forth, still flaunting luxury on her social media with her new man. Armand got angry and started sending threats. She recorded everything, the conversations, text, voice notes, mail as evidence, because she knew he was going to do something crazy.
About you, I snap on it because I look at you different. Why the about my baby mom? I don't give it. Yo, if you ever was to talk to nigga, she'd tell you that.
I would never talk to that on my level. She ain't the fuck nothing to me, and she never been in my circle. She never been around that. Ain't no.
And you've been bringing it up. So now I'm gonna give you what you want. I'm never gonna touch you again. I'm never physically gonna hurt you. You marry this nigga, I'm blowing his fucking head off on everything I love. I'm going back to prison on everything. Man, I don't give a fuck about that. I told you stop throwing it in my face. If this is what you want to do, go in and do it. Stop throwing it in my face. All right. I just left you 2 months ago. Stop throwing it in my face before I kill you. That's what I'm telling you, because that's what my mindset. I will go there. Us to be together, like I really do.
But she didn't know when or where, until the day he traced her down to the barbershop where she took their son for a haircut and unlived her right in front of their shun. My question is, didn't he know the kind of woman he married, and why would he entrust everything to her? Is it love or what? We live in a world where it's hard to trust oneself, not to talk of trusting someone else, especially with money and luxury. Dear viewer, was it right or wrong for him to have entrusted all his properties to her? Are his reactions and actions justified? Why would he end a life due to materialistic things? What are your thoughts concerning this story? Kindly join the conversation and contribute your thoughts in the comments section. I will be there to reply as much as I can. And if you still haven't subscribed to this channel, kindly do so now, as your support will mean a lot to us and keep us encouraged. No weapon, no suspects in custody. It was a crime that left more questions than answers. The barbershop on Wesley High Avenue wasn't just a scene of tragedy. It was the epicenter of an investigation that quickly intensified. Natifa Wade's murder wasn't random, and police knew they had to act fast. But with no clear evidence to guide them, the clock was ticking. investigators scoured the scene for any trace of evidence. Every inch of the barbershop was examined. Door handles, floors, windows. But the weapon used to take Natifa's life was nowhere to be found. The absence of this critical piece of evidence complicated the case further. Witnesses described hearing the gunshots, but the chaos of the moment left their accounts scattered. Law enforcement pieced together a basic timeline, but a clear narrative was still out of reach. Realizing the case was at a standstill, the police turned to the public for help. A $20,000 reward was announced for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. Flyers were distributed, tip lines were flooded, and the call for justice echoed across the community. But even with the reward, leads were slow to surface. How effective do you think these rewards are in solving cases like this? As the investigation continued, pressure mounted. Every day Armand Hilton remained at large. Fear grew. Would the man deemed armed and dangerous strike again? Police poured resources into tracking Hilton down, working day and night to follow up on every lead. But with no weapon and only fragments of information, they faced an uphill battle. The question lingered. Would they find him before it was too late? And what might he do in the meantime? As at the time of telling this tragic story, he still remains at large, and it's been months. If you have any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, you are urged to contact the Philadelphia Police Department's Homicide Unit at 215-686-3334. You can also call or text the PPD's tip line at 215-686-TIPS-8477. Every tip is valuable. Every piece of information could be the one that breaks this case wide open. Do not hesitate to come forward. Your information could be the difference. This is a plea for justice, not just for Natifa Wade, but for her family, for her friends, for everyone affected by this senseless act of violence. The power to bring closure to this case lies in part with the public. Someone out there knows something. Someone has seen something. That information, that one crucial piece of the puzzle, could be the key to finding Armand Hilton and bringing him to justice. Don't underestimate the importance of your contribution. Natifa Wade's life was cut short in a crime that has left a trail of unanswered questions. The suspect, Armand Hilton, remains at large, and the motive behind this brutal act still hangs in uncertainty. Some people said she should have returned what belonged to Armand and move on with her new man. But that doesn't give him the right to take her life. He promised to take her life and go back to prison, and that's exactly what he did, but still hasn't gone to prison. For her family, every moment without answers feels like an eternity. They deserve justice. They deserve closure. And your voice could help bring that closer to reality. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think happened that day? Was it a crime of passion, or was there something else at play? Drop your theories in the comments below. Every perspective counts. And if you have any information that could aid the investigation, don't hesitate to reach out to the authorities. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and learn about the tragic story of Natifa Wade. These stories are difficult to tell, but it's important to remember the human cost of violence and to seek justice for those who have been affected. We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments section below. However, we ask that you please be respectful in your comments. This is a sensitive case involving the loss of a life, and it's crucial that we treat Natifa Wade, her family, and everyone involved with the utmost respect and sensitivity. If you found this video informative and you're interested in more true crime content handled with sensitivity and respect, please consider subscribing to our channel. By subscribing and hitting the notification bell, you'll be notified whenever we upload new videos. We strive to bring you thoroughly researched and ethically presented true crime stories, always prioritizing respect for the victims and their families. Ultimately, this story is about the loss of Natifa Wade. It's a reminder of the devastating consequences of violence and the importance of seeking justice. We must never forget her name. Our thoughts remain with Natifa's family and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. We hope that this video has shed light on her story and contributed to a greater understanding of the impact of such tragedies. Thank you again for watching. Please remember to be kind and respectful to one another.